4 out of your 6 picks were defensemen. Was it, something where at the end guys fell to you, or was that your mandate coming in?
No, not really a mandate. It was who fell to us, and we thought was the best player at that moment, so we ended up taking the defenseman. So, but it seemed
Two
to be
big guys.
Two big guys. It seemed like there's more D in the draft this year. So, and you don't usually see right defense as much. So it was one of them years where it was more D, and they fell at that moment to us.
What's your overall impression of your draft as a whole now that's complete? The players that you were able to take, just your impression as a whole?
Oh, I'm very happy about it. I mean, we got a goalie in the fourth that we liked. We got 2 defensemen in the first 2 picks. So in general, we filled some holes, and now it's time for a development department to take a hold and get these young men better.
How many of these guys did you actually see play live?
Well, everyone. Well, that's part of my responsibility to make sure I see these players and making sure that we like them as an organization.
Obviously take stock at the end of a couple of days like this. Where are you 2 days later now than you were in terms of where your plan is at and development-wise?
Well, there's no question you're better because you have players that you now have as assets as well as players that you're developing and how long it'll take them, but you have to be developing. And as Mark said, he has seen each and every one of them, plus most of our scouts have. And you feel very good about that because they know the type of people we want, they know the type of players we're looking for. So we're better. Every team is better. I mean, it's the same. And everybody feels really good today. But we put some size and strength in the lineup. As Mark said, we got a goaltender that we feel very good about. And that's all you can do at this point.
How was the trade market for you the last couple of days? How active were you on the phone, and how close did you come possibly to anything?
Well, first of all, you never come close to anything unless you get it done. But you always try and make your team better. That's our responsibility. That's our job. There wasn't a transaction that took place, and right now we just go back and get ready.
7 defensemen in 2 seasons, all about acquiring assets, and obviously you need the organization has. And where you bring in patience to develop these guys, Mark?
Yeah, we are. We got some of the kids like the Greenaway kid last year. He's in school, and he'll take some time to develop as a hockey player. And the O'Connell kid he drafted late from out of St. Andrews College is he's going to Penticton next year and then 4 years to BU. So there's time for these young men to develop, and we all know how long it takes defensemen to be a national hockey defenseman, and we got to be patient and we got to develop them, and hopefully they improve.
Can you say a few words about each of them, just to give us an idea of what you like about them?
Of course, Rasson. Okay, we won't talk about that. Rasson's a big, strong guy that he needs to develop his body yet. He's a little inconsistent because his legs don't carry that big body around, but he's got a great shot. He played top pairing for Kingston. There's huge upside on his skill level, and of course he needs to physically get stronger.
And Scott?
Scott's a goalie that played on not a great team, and so his stats isn't as good as it should be, but his technique and his size and his quickness side to side is very good.
Kara?
Kara's a big, strong winger that plays two-way game, that can skate and handle pucks and drives the net.
Gordeev?
Gordeev is a big, strong defenseman that who can dunk a ball. I don't know if that means anything. Something, but he's got a bomb and he can shoot a puck, and he's a big, strong guy that he's got skill. He just needs to calm down and make better plays consistently on the ice.
McGregor?
McGregor is a young man that needs strength. He's got hockey sense, he's got skill. He didn't have a great year last year. We figured more out of him, myself and their scouting staff. But I really believe he's got some upside that he's going to take off next year.
And finally, O'Connell?
O'Connor is a young man that is right in our backyard out of St. Andrews. He's developed at St. Andrews, is going to Penticton, and then he'll be going to BU. So good program in BU, and this kid's got a good upswing, really skate, but we'll be patient with him and watch his development.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You talked a lot about your plan and changing every day and the 5-year plan that always changes. A pretty good NHL defenseman gets traded today for a pretty high price. How do you weigh price versus need, and how you know, when you see something like that happen, and the kind of guy you probably were somewhere in the mix of trying to...
That's a great question. And, you know, you as an organization have to determine, you know, what price you will pay for a player that you think that can help you. And that weight comes in how it affects what the philosophy you have and also what the future is. Every transaction you make is for today with tomorrow in sight. And where we are as an organization, we have to make sure we're doing that. We've said that right from the beginning. We're in a process. We're not going to try and jumpstart anything. We're going to allow it to take its course. But if along the way we can get better without hurting the future, we're going to do that. And that's going to be continued.
One of the things you looked at with Nashville getting to where they got to, they signed those young defensemen before they became what they became to pretty good long-term contracts. Is that the way now you have to manage cap, get ahead of your players, so to speak?
Well, I think that's exactly what Mark was saying earlier about we took these defensemen. We know it's going to take some time. Defensemen take longer than forwards do. But when you've got the ability to do that and have patience with them and you see things, you do it. We've got a couple of young defensemen, you know, at the Mollies who, you know, we don't know how close they are until we see them next year. They've had outstanding years. So what you want to do is continue that flow of players coming in all areas. We took a goaltender this year, as Mark said, who had an off year, but the talent and, you know, what we felt about him as a group, you'd make that decision. And we took a goaltender last year who had an outstanding year. So the more you can keep a farm system and a feeder system going, the better you're going to be as an organization.
Speaking also, player kind of had a down year. Timothy, we didn't talk to you yesterday after drafting him in the first round, had that bout of mono. What was your impression of him and taking him in the first round yesterday?
Well, I guess you want to repeat the question, Sandy?
Sorry, just on Liljegren yesterday drafting, what was your take on him?
Well, my take on him was the excitement that our scouting staff had. He's a right shot defenseman who has exceptional speed and, you know, handles the puck above average. And the way the game is going with the speed and the way you push the player, then, you know, he's just an outstanding prospect. And that's what he is right now, like every other player that's been drafted today.
What's the real? I mean, you want them all to make it. What would you count as a success for this draft? 2 guys, 3 guys? Like, you look at things like that?
I think Lou has more experience there.
I wish we had an answer to that. Every time you think someone's going to make it, they fool you. And then sometimes people you think are going to take a little
I don't
longer.
mean specifically players. I mean, just what, do you have a number in mind of when you look at drafts? I want 2 guys every year. I want 3 guys every year.
No, I don't think you look at that. You look at the best players because what it'll happen. It could be one year the best players would be defensemen, and the next year it'd be best players would be forwards. So if you decided you were going to proportion it, you're not really doing the right thing. You're going to take the best players.
Your old right arm, David Conti, used to say, if you're batting .300 as a scout, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Same thing in baseball.
That's what he was basing it on.